Sponsored by Adams Financial Concepts.
About Money, a different approach to investing you won't hear anywhere else. Your host, Mike Adams, is a registered investment advisor and works with investment portfolios exceeding over $100,000 in net worth and has a proven track record of managing long-term investments surpassing the markets in the long term. The information shared on the following program is for educational purposes only, and any investment advice given may not be suitable for all investors. And now, here's Mike.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to About Money. Your regular host, Mike Adams, has been busy at the Money Show in Las Vegas this week. The Money Show is a conference where investment experts from all over the world come together to share their knowledge and perspective on what's to come in 2015 and beyond. So he will not be joining us on the program today. My name is Michael Prentice, and I run the 401k side of Adams Financial Concepts. Also providing some insight in today's show will be our newest intern, Julia.
Hello.
And our guest today has an interesting story to tell us, so you want to stick around for that. All right. Do you remember your days in the college dorm rooms? Everyone living in close quarters, focusing on their studies and not having much to your name? This is a time when you're young and having fun, first learning about the world. For most, it meant having to share a room with a stranger. Well, that person was a stranger in the beginning, but they most likely became one of your best friends over time. It meant having to share a bathroom with your neighbors, if not your entire floor. You had a shared kitchen or dining area. You may have shared your clothes, your computer, or even your car. It was a time when everyone was usually willing to share with each other because you were all in the same place trying to make it through college. The same concept is becoming increasingly popular among new business startups as well, with the millennial generation. People are taking the idea of sharing and turning it into a profit, and why not? It seems to be working out well for them, at least for now. The sharing economy is not exactly a new concept. People have been sharing their stuff for years. When you needed a tool to fix your house, or perhaps you ran out of sugar, rather than run out to the store to purchase something, only to be using once, or maybe you didn't have a card to get to the store, what did you do? You'd go next door and ask your neighbor to borrow theirs. But then what happens when your neighbor doesn't have what you're looking for either? Then you'd have to go out and buy it for yourself. Now with the advances in technology and an estimated 196 million smartphone users by 2016, it's hard not to hear the phrase, they have an app for that. Technology has helped to develop the shared economy into what it is today. These advances in technology and app creation has essentially expanded who your neighbors are. Now, instead of going next door to borrow something, you can go onto an app and within a few clicks have whatever you need to borrow, for the most part, delivered to your door for a small fee. The tech world is creating a marketplace for people to share just about anything they want and connecting people through the use of smartphones. The early pioneers of this shared economy goes back to the mid-90s when the internet was starting to really take off. You had companies like eBay and Napster that sort of opened the door into this shared economy. For eBay, they started as a place where collectors would go online and buy or sell different types of memorabilia. This helped to make finding rare collectible items a little easier by connecting collectors from around the world. And then in the early 2000s, as eBay continued to grow, they expanded their categories beyond just collectible items and created a peer-to-peer marketplace where people could go to buy and sell their used stuff. It was sort of like an online yard sale. Since then, eBay has become more of an online storefront with power sellers and a large majority of the products being sold are new items. eBay's also led the way with a dual-sided rating system where both the buyer rates and the seller rate each other. Yeah, the buyer will rate the seller rates the buyer. This is essential for creating trust in the marketplace, which we'll get into in a little bit. Now, while eBay led the peer-to-peer marketplace, Napster paved the way for the sharing economy. As many of you may know, Napster was a peer-to-peer file sharing company that was used mostly to share music MP3 files between users. Although there were other file sharing programs available, such as IRC, Napster quickly gained a massive popularity after its launch in 1999 because of its user-friendly interface. They made it very easy for people to search for music by title or artist or even genre. Napster's file sharing service was free for users. People would open up their computers, hard drives, and allow other users to copy and share music files. This was a great way for musicians to get in front of people without having to go through middlemen and record labels. And although Napster was very short-lived, being shut down in 2001 due to lawsuits involving copyright infringement, they had amassed over 80 million users at their prime. They led the way, disrupting the way the music industry operated and the shift towards digital music. Companies like Rhapsody, who now owns the Napster brand, Spotify, Pandora, and iRadio, to name a few, have found ways to work with the music industry and provide a legal way to offer music sharing. Since then, the sharing economy has evolved and really began to take off during the downturn of the economy as people started squeezing their wallets and looking for ways to cut back and save money. The sharing economy basically allows people to share goods and services for a fee. It not only can help people save money by allowing them to rent or borrow items they either can't afford to purchase or only need them for a short period of time. It also allows for people to make a little bit of money by lending out their stuff when they are not using it. And why not rent out your stuff while you're not using it and make some money doing it? Some of the more recognizable industries that we are seeing a shared economy become popular, especially here in Seattle, are transportation, lodging, fashion, and even lending. Companies like Uber and Lyft, which are considered ride sharing, allow people to share rides with a driver that is going in the same direction as them. Now, however, these companies are becoming more of an on-demand taxi service where people use their own cars rather than a standard taxi cab. Other companies like Relay Rides and FlightCar allow you to rent out your car to other people when you're not using it. For example, with FlightCar, instead of having to pay for parking at the airport, you can be paid for dropping your car off with them, and they will rent out your car to someone else while you're on vacation. Other shared transportation companies include Zipcar and Car2Go, which allow you to use one of their fleet of vehicles when you need it for a monthly fee plus mileage charges. They typically have cars located all over the Seattle area. And Pronto has bicycles that you can rent for short periods of time to get around the city. Now, Airbnb is another big name in the lodging industry. Airbnb lets people rent out their homes or even a room in their home for short periods of time, like maybe a weekend. And Airbnb has grown tremendously in popularity as travelers are able to enjoy the amenities of a house, such as a full-size kitchen, for about the same price that you would pay for a standard hotel room. This has also become a great way for people to rent out vacation homes without having to deal with travel agents. Rental agencies or classifieds to try and find people to occupy their homes. Not all the listings are vacation homes, though. Some people just have an extra room in their home they aren't using and want to make a little extra money and possibly meet new people. Other sites like Couchsurfing.org also let people open up their homes and couches to travelers. Only the people sharing their living space on Couchsurfing aren't looking for any monetary compensation. They just get the benefit of meeting new people and helping someone travel the world on a budget. Other companies that seem a bit scarier are the peer-to-peer lending sites like Upstart.com or LendingClub.com. These companies pair people that want to borrow money with people that want to lend money. They handle all of the back-end work, such as running credit checks, income verification, and collecting payments, as well as distributing payments back to the investor. This type of sharing can seem a bit more risky than the others. And of course, the most part of these peer-to-peer sharing type economies are into the business to make money. For providing their services of connecting buyers to sellers, they will typically charge a fee. These companies are not only making money for themselves, but they are also providing opportunity for people and creating new entrepreneurs. People are able to rent their goods or even their time to others and generate an income from this. Some people may go as far as buying houses or cars just for the sole purpose of renting them out to other people to use. These companies advertise that you can make up to $1,000 a week renting out your services. It does help to provide people with an extra income source while they pursue other opportunities. And one of the biggest reservations that people have about the shared economy is, how do you trust a complete stranger with your car, your home, or your stuff? I'm sure that building a community of trust has been one of the biggest obstacles that these companies have had to overcome. And this is where eBay's rating system comes into play. Before accepting people into their community, the company performed different types of background checks, driving, credit, and what other kinds of checks that are needed to stay compliant with local laws. Once on their system, they also use the double-sided rating system, where both the buyer rates the seller and the seller rates the buyer. And this allows for both parties to see how other people have rated their interactions with the buyer or seller. And we're actually going to be coming up to a break right here. So stay tuned. We got more to come. And if you've missed any of our previous shows, you can find them at adamsfinancialconcepts.com. We'll be right back.
About Money. We'll resume in a moment with Mike Adams on Business Radio 1300 KKOL. For more information, click on adamsfinancialconcepts.com.
Lots of people manage investment portfolios. Just a few can manage a successful portfolio and provide exceedingly great service to their clients. Here's Mike Adams from Adams Financial Concepts.
We believe the price you pay should be based on the performance of your portfolio and the quality of service you receive.
You know, Mike, it seems that a lot of companies subscribe to the one-size-fits-all mentality of investing. Does one size really fit all?
Not with us. Every portfolio that we manage is customized to fit each particular client's objectives and risk tolerance. We place our clients' interests first in all portfolio decisions.
If you're looking for a home for your seven-figure plus investment portfolio, call Mike Adams of Adams Financial Concepts, specializing in creating and maintaining wealth for over 20 years. 206-903-1019. That's 206-903-1019. Or log on to adamsfinancialconcepts.com.
KOL. Now we return to About Money. There's more information waiting for you at adamsfinancialconcepts.com. Here again is your host, Mike Adams.
Well, welcome back, guys. Once again, Mike Adams is not here today. So you're here with me, Michael Prentice, and we're talking about the shared economy system. And I was talking about the trust levels that these companies are facing, and like kind of what they're put in place to get around these, to kind of build the trust in their community. One of the things they've done is they put the double-sided rating system, where both the buyer and the seller can rate each other. And this allows for both parties to see how other people have rated their interaction with a particular buyer or seller. And then it gives them the opportunity to decide if you want to deal with that person or not. So if somebody has a bad rating, you may not want to take part in that transaction, or, borrow from them, or, rent to them or sell to them, or any of that situation. And negative ratings also put you at risk of being kicked out of their community and not able to use the services they offer. Just like with eBay, the lower rating, the less likely someone is going to be willing to sell you something or buy something from you. And I mean, this community kind of starts with the more daring and risk takers that are usually first to try the services provided by these companies. And then the more people use them and tell their friends about them and have them try them out, the more the community grows and the level of trust increases. Because if you're skeptical and your friend tells you that it's trustworthy, you may try it out for yourself, find out that you like it, and then you'll start using the service as well. But when it comes to trust, we can compare a standard taxi cab service to the services of, let's say, Uber and Lyft. Let's say if I ordered a cab, it's usually hailed by you're on the street, or maybe you called and needed to be picked up from somewhere. So the cab would come and get to you. Sorry, I lost my place. So then when you get in the cab, the driver's pictures and license are usually visible on the dash. But how often do you really pay attention to those things? And from the driver's perspective, he most likely will know none of your information at all, or about any of his passengers. So if something were to happen during the ride, driver takes the wrong route, has a bad attitude, or you leave something behind, or whatever else the case may be, what options do you really have? I mean, you can try to report him, but unless you actually got his full name and wrote it down, or the name of the cab company, or the number on the cab, you're going to have a hard time trying to track that person down. And the same is for the driver. He won't be able to find you if you did leave something behind or had a negative interaction. In the shared economy, everything is tracked and transparent, though. When you sign up for the service, all the payments are handled through the credit cards. You know your driver's name, and typically you get a picture of them before they arrive, and the driver will know your name as well. So not only can both the driver and the rater comment and rate each other, but both the driver and passengers receive a receipt for the transaction that includes where you were picked up and dropped off and the route that was taken. So there are safeguards in place to protect both sides in the peer-to-peer transactions. Most services require credit cards on file to use the services, so people don't have to worry about not getting paid or trying to get reimbursed in the case where personal property gets damaged by a user. And the shared economy idea is creating a community of on-demand concierge type service as well, where people are able to hire independent contractors to complete tasks for them for a fee. But that is a topic for another time. I also had mentioned fashion as one of the industry being affected by the shared economy. I didn't give any examples or talk about that industry because I want to let our guest today talk about the shared fashion economy. Joining us today is Robert Treves, the COO of Bag, Borrow, and Steal.
Thank you very much.
So, Robert, let's start with your background.
Excuse me. I have an operational background. I'm background in finance and technology, which is very important for what we do because we're an online e-commerce only company. We offer fashionistas the ability to rent a high-end luxury handbag, or if they choose, they can purchase a pre-loved or pre-owned handbag in our buy marketplace. We also provide the service of allowing them to sell us handbags that they may no longer desire to have in their closet.
Okay. So tell us how the company exactly works.
Well, what you do is you come to our website, bagborroworsteal.com, and you search on the borrow section, for example, looking for a style, color, and find something you like, add it to your cart, provide us your shipping information, credit card, etc., and we will we'll ship it out to you, usually that day, standard shipping times depending on where you're located. And you are renting that item for a month. Our fees generally are about 10% of the MSRP of the item. And you get to enjoy that item for a month, and at the end of the month, you can either send it back to us or you can, what we call, renew it for another month. So it's completely up to you how you utilize it. Many of our bags have been seen in runways and other shows and stuff. So you get to carry these items that may not be attainable to you from either an access perspective, if you live in a location that these things aren't sold readily, or just financially, if you're not able to to acquire one of these luxury Chanel, Louis Vuitton bags that you get your eye on because of their price, they're a little prohibitive. We allow you to rent it for a month and enjoy that usage and then send it back.
Okay. Now, do you only deal in handbags?
We deal in more than handbags. Most women's accessories on the buy and resell side. Right now, on the borrow side, we're only focused on handbags. We find that those are the most durable and allow for the customer to enjoy without the worry so much of destroying them. Some of the other products aren't as durable for everyday use.
Yes. And what happens when they destroy the bag?
Well, unfortunately, it happens from time to time. We've heard stories. If you destroy the bag, then it is yours, and you will be charged the MSRP. Most of the time, it's simply normal wear and tear, and they send it back to us, and there is no fee for that. We recondition the bag, and if the bag is gotten to the point where we don't feel it is of quality to rent, I mean, all of our rentals are like new. So when you get that bag, you should feel like you just got a brand new bag. So if the bag has been used to a point where you don't get that feeling as a customer, then we will not rent it anymore. We'll move it over and we'll sell it as a pre-owned bag on the buy side of our site.
How'd you guys get started?
We started back in 2005. There was a couple of gentlemen whose wives were consistently sharing their handbags, and they said, "Well, this is interesting. Let's take a look at this and see if we can make a business out of it." And so they started the company, and we're entering our 10th year.
Wow, that's great. And now, are you guys based here in Seattle?
Our headquarters is here in Seattle. We have more of the operational headquarters here. What we call our fashion house is in the Midwest to allow us to ship within a reasonable time frames to both coasts. Most of our market is the larger urban markets. So we have a big presence in California. We have a large presence in Northeast. So we want to make sure we can get our products to those consumers in a reasonable amount of time. And so our fashion house is in the Midwest, and we handle merchandising and obviously shipping and photography and all that stuff out of there.
So when I took a look at the website, I was confused on the borrow part. Do I have to send in my stuff for someone to borrow? Do you guys actually own all the material that you're renting out?
Yeah, fair question. We're not sharing other people's goods at this point. We own all of the products on the borrow side. We actually own all the products on the site or consign them if we're selling it. So, when you're borrowing from us, you're borrowing our goods.
Okay.
And we've looked into the other, but we just haven't gotten there yet. We haven't found the right model for that.
Okay. So I think the biggest barrier for me as a customer, if I was going to purchase, how do I know that the goods are authentic? Because that keeps me from purchasing a lot of stuff online.
Yeah. We stand behind our items 100%. If you feel they are not authentic, you can send it back and we will refund your money. We've had some people do that before. We know they're authentic. We source our bags from reputable sources, wholesalers, the designers themselves, so we know they're authentic. We also have an authentication team that double checks anything that we don't get directly from one of the designers. And they are experts in determining the authentication of the items.
So what if a gal decides to send back a handbag that is not authentic?
We've had that as well. We kindly send the bag back to them that we determined is not authentic and wasn't the bag that we sent to them, and we do not refund their money for the return, basically, or charge them if it's a rental item.
Okay. Yeah, and then another question. So I did I was interested in a Gucci bucket bag that I was looking at, but
Nice.
Unfortunately it was on loan, and so I was wondering, when does the site renew, and when is the prime time for me to go and order a bag?
The site renews every day. and we are constantly taking items that come back in and putting them back on the site. So an item will come back in, we'll refresh it, make sure it's still in good condition to be rented again, and we'll put it back on the site. We do offer a wish list where you can drop an item that you'd like to look at.
All right, Robert, I'm going to cut
Okay.
you off right
No
there.
problem.
We're coming up
Thank
on a
you so
break
much.
right here. We'll be right back, guys.
More about money coming up with Mike Adams on Business Radio 1300 KKOL. For more information, click on adamsfinancialconcepts.com.
Creating and maintaining wealth has been the specialty of Adams Financial Concepts for over 20 years. Every portfolio managed by Adams Financial Concepts is customized to fit each particular client's objectives and risk tolerance. The client's interest always comes first in portfolio decisions. Call Mike Adams today at 206-903-1019 or log on to adamsfinancialconcepts.com to check out their AFC performance. They welcome your review. That's adamsfinancialconcepts.com.
We're back with more about money. For details on what you hear on today's show, visit adamsfinancialconcepts.com. Now, here again is Mike Adams.
Hi guys, again, Mike was at a conference this week, so me and Mike Prentice have been covering our boss, and we're back with Bag Bar on Steel and Robert Treves, who's the
COO.
CEO of the company. And we actually, while we were on break, we were actually discussing the name Bag Bar and Steel, and we were wondering what was the steel portion.
Well, the steel portion is on select bags. We allow the consumer who is borrowing it to apply some of what some of the money they have spent, apply some of that to the purchase of the bag. So we give them credit for some of the rentals. It's not on all bags. We have a lot of highly coveted bags that we don't allow that on, but when we have some bags that we do, and that gives customers the opportunity to basically turn their rental into an ownership. So it's a
You're not actually stealing the bag.
You're
If you
not
guys are
actually
listening,
stealing the bag,
That is
no.
not allowed.
no, we do not try to push customers stealing our bags. No, it is a play on words, obviously, and some customers enjoy it. It really just depends on what you're looking for in your rental experience. Most of our customers tend to want the item for a month or two. That's really why they're doing it, is so they can try out multiple styles, multiple designers, what fits with their wardrobe for that season.
Yeah, I agree. As being a woman who purchases bags and shoes often, I think it's hard to catch up every season because there's a new style every season, and I'm not going to go spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a trendy bag, And so I think this concept is really great and applicable.
It is great. It gives them that option, and that's what we're looking for, is for people to be satisfied with their experience. We don't need them to want it for a year. That doesn't do us any good. It doesn't do them any good.
And I think I was watching Sex and the City, and I think I saw the mention of your company in there, but I didn't think it was real.
Yeah.
And so watching the movie, but now we're talking about it. Were you actually mentioned?
We were mentioned in the movie back in 2008. We were in a scene with Jennifer Hudson when she was interviewing for a job with Carrie, and she had identified that she had rented this wonderful Louis Vuitton bag from us, and so we had a great part in that movie, and that really propelled us into the namesake. I mean, we were talking at the beginning of the thing about trust, and when you're an online retailer, it can be difficult to build the trust with people to make sure they know you're real. I mean, our name is a little bit of a play on words, and people are like, "Oh, does that really exist?" I mean, but why would that exist? And so we do work hard to build the trust, and obviously it's something that once you've used us, you'll have that trust. You understand what we offer, you understand the quality of the items you're getting. The experience you get in being able to send them back after you've enjoyed them for a month or two, and then you try something else out.
I bet the word of mouth referrals are excellent.
They are. We have a lot of advocates when when people find us and they start to enjoy the service, they come back and they tell their friends, and we get little clusters of locations where more and more bags are going to that cluster of locations.
So we were cut off during the break, and we were asking about the borrow part, where I was asking if I send in my personal handbag to be borrowed, but you've answered that no, you own all of it.
Yeah, we own all of the items on the borrow side. Right before the break, we were also talking about the items that weren't available.
When do they renew, and when do I get it?
Yeah, exactly. So we've chosen to allow the consumer to decide how long they keep it for. In doing so, we can't reserve a bag for you. But what we can do is allow you to remind yourself to come look at it on our wish list. And as soon as the bag comes back, we thoroughly clean them, inspect them, make sure they're still available, and then we get them back on the site right away. So when it is returned, I mean, people have a tendency to come to our site and just kind of browse every day. And there are people that we from time to time we've changed our prices, and it's amazing the number of people that go, well, that wasn't the price yesterday. And you're like, you were on the site yesterday at that bag? I mean, they stock some of these bags because they're highly coveted. I mean, it's a good problem to have.
I think the women listeners understand.
Yeah.
Most men are like, what is going on?
Most of the men probably don't. Yeah, I wouldn't go to that site every day, unless it was a nice fishing pole. No.
So, when these bags are out, can your customers like request, like say they want that bag, like you said you had a wish list or anything like that. Now, do you notify them when it comes back in, be like, hey, this bag is ready if you want to rent it?
We don't have notification settings that go out when the bag is returned. We have the ability for you to set reminders to go check and see if it's back.
Okay.
What we do, we get a fair number of bags that are highly sought after, and we've debated whether it is a good experience or not to get an email and have it be a race where 75 people just got the same email and you can only make one happy. So we've chosen so far to not send out that email. We have the capability. We've discussed it plenty of times.
It would be good for traffic.
Yeah. But, you're trying to give them the best experience and giving them a rush and then having them be disappointed every time they go there if they don't happen to be, if they're on the West Coast and the East Coast gets the notification first because they're up earlier. We try to keep the customers happy, and that we felt that might give a little more of a negative experience than a positive one for everyone but the one who got it.
That's how I feel when I register for my college classes, my university classes. I have to race to get into the slot.
It's a race, and everyone has their own schedules, and I can't imagine the 5 a.m. let's get up, see if I got that email that says it's back in. So, anyways, that's what we're doing on that right now.
Well, so since you know the ins and outs of your website, what are some secrets that I could utilize to maximize attaining a Chanel boy bag?
The infamous Chanel boy bag, one of the printed ones. It's watch our social media feeds, our Instagram feeds. We tend to take photos of the hot bags that just came back in and before they actually hit the site. So we've kind of used that as our little teaser that says, hey, this thing's about to go back online. So I would suggest the Instagram feed or the Instagram page as your source for what's about to be live again.
And I think, actually, we talked in the pre-interview, you said that your design team was based in Wisconsin, correct?
Yeah, our merchandising team is in Wisconsin.
And so they do all the styling and all the photo shoots and all the visual
aesthetics of the site. Our technology team is here in Seattle. It's one of the main reasons that the company is headquartered in Seattle is because of the technology.
Is that difficult? Because I think because of Skype, but sometimes I would think that decisions like that, you'd have to see what happens.
I think in today's world, you have to be able to work in multiple locations. More and more people are working remotely within the same city, and they're not seeing their colleagues. So we haven't found it to be a problem at all. We share ideas, whether it be through the Skype tool or because we actually use that, or whether it's through the preparation and the what we call our test our test setup where we're all reviewing the copy and the creative before it goes out. So I don't know that. I mean, it's always nice to be in the same place. It would be great. It's not how we're structured, and I think we deal with it pretty well. It doesn't really cause any problems for us.
So you've been in business for 10 years, you said, right?
Yes.
Did you see an influx in business during like the downturn of the economy? More people coming in as they're trying to still be stylish but not spend as much money as they would on purchasing new bags.
Not as much. It's come back more lately.
Okay.
I think that 2009 was tough on our core customer base who are aspirational and can't quite afford to buy these on a regular basis. I don't think we got so many of the customers that used to be able to afford them but now couldn't and wanted to keep it. We didn't get as many of those types. So it actually hurt us a little more than, it hurt us like everyone else in the economy.
Right.
People were spending less on discretionary items, and a rental of a handbag is definitely a discretionary item.
Gotcha.
That's my opinion. I think
I
other
read-
people would disagree with me. I think there are some fashionistas that say it's a requirement, but and I love them. I absolutely love them. But no, we saw a bit of a downturn with the economy changing. But now that the shared economy has started to actually gain more traction than when we were started, it's definitely picking back up, and people are more comfortable with it. So we're getting a lot more customers coming in who don't need you to explain to them why it's a good idea. They just want to know what the value it is in it for them and what type of a product can they get for their money.
Yeah, I read somewhere that Karl Lagerfeld from Chanel was saying that during the recession, the United States didn't even keep them afloat. It was the Middle East because no one could purchase the designer goods.
Yeah.
And we know Chanel's like the most compared to Hermes and Birkins.
Yeah.
But, and they're saying that the Middle East was actually kept them afloat while this was happening.
Yeah. It definitely, the market, luxury market took a hit. But it's rebounding. At least for us.
And the last question before I go to break: Are you guys going to be at Fashion Week next week in New York?
We actually have some individuals in New York working with us, but we're not attending Fashion Week.
You're not going to make an appearance?
I'm not going to make an appearance in Fashion Week.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, and we'll be right back. Don't forget to follow our Twitter account at About Money Radio. We have been sharing a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes at Adams Financial Office and at About Money Radio. All right. Stick around.
Stay tuned. About Money returns in a moment with your host, Mike Adams, here on Business Radio 1300 KKOL. For more information, click on adamsfinancialconcepts.com.
Get away. Get a good job with a pen. You're okay.
Lots of people manage investment portfolios. Just a few can manage a successful portfolio and provide exceedingly great service to their clients. Here's Mike Adams from Adams Financial Concepts.
We believe the price you pay should be based on the performance of your portfolio and the quality of service you receive.
Mike, it seems that a lot of companies subscribe to the one-size-fits-all mentality of investing. Does one size really fit all?
Not with us. Every portfolio that we manage is customized to fit each particular client's objectives and risk tolerance. We place our client's interests first in all portfolio decisions.
If you're looking for a home for your seven-figure plus investment portfolio, call Mike Adams of Adams Financial Concepts, specializing in creating and maintaining wealth for over 20 years. 206-903-1019. That's 206-903-1019. Or log on to adamsfinancialconcepts.com.
About Money continues. Remember the website, adamsfinancialconcepts.com. Here's Mike.
Hi, guys. Again, we said Mike is not here today, but I'm Julia, and I'm usually behind the scenes at these radio shows. I've been interning at Adams Financials for a few months now, and I'm really excited to be part of it. So talking about bag, borrow, or steal and the e-commerce market, I read a really relevant article in the Business Journal, e-commerce services and how consumers and e-commerce are changing the retail landscape. And I think it really hits the nail on the head about the future of retail in the e-commerce market. Technology continues to evolve the way shopping and merchants interact. As retail sales continue to increase, the e-consumer services examine how e-commerce has given consumers the upper hand while compelling merchants to adopt new strategies in the face of retail and technology changes. Government statistics reveal that e-commerce represents a steadily growing portion of retail sales, and e-commerce sales grew 14% between 2013 and 2014, and a number of digital commerce products categories surpassed the average, including apparel and accessories. It grew 21%. So what does this tell us? It's extremely important for brands to present both offline and online presence to succeed. The retail e-commerce revenue in the United States in 2012 was estimated around $225.5 billion US, and is projected to grow $434.2 billion in 2017. So I think if you lack the online engagement with your customers, whether it be on social media or your website, you need to improve that to succeed in before 2017. It needs to be precise, it needs to be clean, and it needs to be visually pleasing for the 21st century consumer. Companies that are not hiring a press or media team need to manage their online presence. They're going to see a huge fall in their sales in the next couple years. They will not be able to withstand the power of the online communities and the online presence of competitive stores. We see this example with JCPenney and Nordstrom. I wasn't around, but I've heard that JCPenney was once owned a large market share of the department stores around the country. But with the change in the CEO and lack of adaptation in the evolving market, it has not been able to maintain its customers. With the rise of Nordstrom and their savvy online marketing, we can see their presence is equally powerful online and offline that can be mounted to a huge part of their success. When I used to work with Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack Media Department, I did a lot of stuff with their online influence programs, and they actually told me that they were steering away from the magazines and the hard copy lookbooks because they saw that there was a drop of engagement in sales. They explained that they were moving toward working with online influencers and bloggers because their customers and followers had a personal connection with each follower, with each influencer and or blogger, and were more loyal and willing to buy something they marketed versus versus a model they just saw on a page, which they don't know. And I think that e-commerce will be greatly centered around online marketing and the sway of products. With the case of Bagball or Steel, do you guys work with any online influencers?
Yeah, we do. We have several guest bloggers who participate in our brand. We being an online store only, we don't have the brick and mortar to send people to. We find that our consumers enjoy that interaction with each other, and that helps bring credence to our brand, and it helps them understand that we are a real company and that we do exist. And when you just have a website, there's always concerns that, are they real? Are they going to take my money?
Yeah, it's like an authentic review.
It is, exactly. And especially when you get some of these, the bloggers out there who have built a following, people feel they can be trusted, so therefore they understand more about your company just because they trust them to not steer them to a complete sham. I mean, obviously.
You link them, you link their loyalty to yourself. That's good.
Yeah.
So findings show that 87% of consumers look for information before visiting a store online, and 42% use their smartphone for in-store research while they're shopping. And being a millennial, I'm 21 years old, I would have to say that I do this about 90% of the time, whether it be finding out the address of nearby stores, information about the store, if they have any sales, whatever it is. Unless it's a store that I attend on a regular basis, I will almost always look it up. And there's also a prediction that by 2017, 60% of all retail transactions in the United States will involve the internet in some way. What's more, many of today's successful fashion companies, from Burberry to Nordstrom, are already blending their online and offline channel strategies to deliver a seamless, integrated, omni-channel retail experience with shared inventories, stronger customer service tools, and more immersed brand touch points, which we've seen also with
Bagball or Steel.
Yes, that completely blinked me. Well, I think that because you're online, and that's the issue that I had when I first looked at the website prior, and I was wondering, how do these girls trust that this is, that this is going to be a good handbag and it's not going to come in all ripped, torn apart, and then what if I, what if I wear it and I spill something on it and it's a complete accident? And I think that it's great that you guys have strategies implemented to protect the consumer as well as yourself. And I think with being online, you're already kind of ahead of the curve where you're not spending the money and budget on just off line stores.
Yeah, and
retail.
we've considered some pop-up shops from here from time to time, and we probably will do them in some of our key media markets, so to speak, in New York and LA. But for the most part, we're an online. Our economies of scale are being online only.
So how do you think your business model is going to change with the shift towards tangible products that client can touch and see?
I mean, it's like I said, we'll probably do a few pop-up shops here and there, but primarily it's going to stay as a commerce retailer. The value we provide is the experience of being able to borrow it for a short period of time. We're not manufacturing these items. The consumer can go see these items. Well, some of them can in terms of their accessibility to the bigger stores and whatnot. They can go and touch and feel the item and then come to us to rent it. But yeah, I mean, it's.
And for example, bags that you have, if do you just have one of a certain brand, or do you have multiple the same style?
We
that
have
you're able to-
multiples of
Okay.
certain items. We have the Louis Vuitton Speedy and the Louis Vuitton Neverfull are our two most popular items, and we have plenty of them. We try to keep them on the shelf at all times. So if they're all out, we'll end up going and getting another one. But other styles that are more eclectic or fashion forward, we'll probably only have one or two of them. We try to keep a limited quantity to not expose ourselves with too much product in certain areas.
That's actually really smart, because I know that I have some bags that I always use, but the limited edition, even the designers don't produce as many.
No, they're
Yeah.
hard to come by.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it, actually. Sometimes if we want more, we can't get more.
And so we heard it was your 10-year anniversary.
It is. We've been in business for 10 years. We actually had a big promotion a couple days ago that did very, very well. We're excited to be able to provide this to the women who are looking for this. It's a great offering. We actually haven't talked much about our buy and sell side of our business, where we basically give the consumers the opportunity to sell us stuff that is no longer needed in their closet, and they can make some money, or you can consign it if you like. And then we sell the used
How much
handbags.
percent do I get if I give you my Chanel?
70% of the sale. Most of our products sell within a month.
That's a really good track record.
Yeah. So no, it's we got a couple other things we're doing for our 10-year to kind of.
So you were
Get
you were
excitement.
there pretty much at the beginning of the whole e-commerce start. So how would you say your operations, or have you seen the change from 2015 to 2005 to 2015?
Yeah, the online commerce side of it has, I think, in some ways simplified over time. I think everyone was trying to be everything to everybody at the beginning. Nowadays, we're really good at what we do, and we want to make sure people know that, and we're not trying to do everything. We're trying to do just, in particular handbags, where majority of our work is.
Well, I think for Bag Bar or Steel, or any business that is trying to enter into this market, getting customer trust and loyalty to shift from the official department store or the designer store is a crucial, difficult task, but when the barrier is crossed, creates an expandable market share.
All right, guys. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next week. Mike will be back to have your regular show back.
Hopefully you enjoyed having us here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thanks. If you want to find out more about Robert and Bag Bar or Steel, just go to bagbarorsteel.com. And remember, you can always go to adamsfinancialconcepts.com to find any of our previous shows. And have a good Friday.
Bye. Thank you.
You've been listening to About Money with Mike Adams, a registered investment advisor. If you'd like more information about what you heard today, or about Mike's investment philosophy and strategy, or if you want Mike to evaluate your own portfolio, click on adamsfinancialconcepts.com. That's adamsfinancialconcepts.com. The information shared on the preceding program was for educational purposes only, and any investment advice given may not be suitable for all investors. Join us again next Friday afternoon at 3 for more About Money with Mike Adams, here on Money Radio 1300 KKOL.
The preceding program was sponsored by Adams Financial Concepts. Creating and maintaining wealth has been the specialty of Adams Financial Concepts for over 20 years. Every portfolio managed by Adams Financial Concepts is customized to fit each particular client's objectives and risk tolerance. The client's interest always comes first in portfolio decisions. Call Mike Adams today at 206-903-1019 or log on to adamsfinancialconcepts.com to check out their AFC performance. They welcome your review. That's Adams Financial Concepts.